McCain now has had to get rid of 5 of his top advisors because it turns out they're all lobbying, many of them for foreign governments. That's because he practices the same kind of politics that we've grown accustomed to in Washington. When I decided to run this campaign, the first thing we said was, we're not going to take money from PACs, we're not going to take money from federal registered lobbyists, because we want to be accountable to the American people. And that's why you can have some confidence. We can go ahead and tell the lobbyists in Washington their days of setting the agenda are over. They have not funded my campaign, they will not run our White House, and they will not drown out the voices of the American people. That's step number 1, reclaiming the government for the people. Making sure that big moneyed interests aren't running a government, making sure that the government is transparent, making sure that we're opening it up so that you guys can see what's going on, having all our meetings that are now indoors and behind closed doors with all the lobbyists in their Gucci shoes. We're going to make sure that they're happening on C-SPAN so that you can see what's going on.
All right.
Step number 2 is we've got to have some truth-telling from our president.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what this whole debate was about when it came to the gas tax. Now, John McCain, I guess it polled well, because he said, we're going to suspend the federal gas tax for 3 months as a way to provide you relief. Now, here's the truth of the matter. At best, this would save you 30 cents a day for an average savings of $28. That's the relief he was offering. But at the same time, does anybody really think that the oil companies would actually reduce their prices at the pump if you eliminated the gas tax? Of course not. You wouldn't get those savings. Those savings would go back into the pockets of ExxonMobil. In the meantime, we would have drained the federal highway tax that we use to rebuild our roads and our bridges to keep our motorists safe. And we would be spurring more consumption of gasoline, the exact thing that has driven up prices and demand and is polluting our environment. So here's what I said. I said that is a gimmick. That's designed to get you through the next election. Let's actually tackle this problem in a meaningful way. People do need relief. People are having a tough time. So let's give them a permanent tax break, $1,000 per family per year, to offset the costs of higher gas prices, but also food prices, higher healthcare prices. We'll pay for it by closing corporate tax loopholes and tax havens. Let's give the American people some relief, but let's also understand that if we are going to solve our energy problems, we've got to think long term. It's time for us to be serious about investing in alternative energy. It's time for us to be serious about raising fuel efficiency standards on cars. It's time that the entire country learns from what's happening right here in Portland with mass transit and bicycle lanes. Alternative means of transportation. That's the kind of solution that we need for America. That's the kind of truth-telling that we are going to do in this campaign and when I am President of the United States of America. We don't need gimmicks. This is a serious time, and we need a serious conversation. And some of it is going to be about sacrifice. We can't keep on doing things the exact same way and expect to pass on the kind of America we want to pass on to our children. But if we tell the truth, I think that the American people, they want a grown-up conversation. Yeah. They're tired of pandering. Yeah. They're tired of distractions. Yeah. They're tired of division. And when we set those things aside, then we can start putting forward the kind of agenda that the greatest generation put right after World War II that helped to create the extraordinary economic boom that we still enjoy today. We can start saying we're going to stop talking about healthcare reform, and we're actually going to start doing something about it. I put forward a plan that says that if you've already got health insurance, every single American who's got health insurance, we're going to work to lower your premiums by as much as $2,500 a year. And if you don't have health insurance, we are going to have a universal health care plan. Everybody will be able to get health care as good as the health care I am as a member of Congress. You won't be excluded for pre-existing conditions. We will emphasize prevention, so we have a health care system instead of a disease care system. We'll save money, make people healthier. We won't wait 20 years from now to do it. We'll do it by the end of my first term as President of the United States. We can start making this economy fair again. I'm not going to give tax breaks to companies that ship jobs overseas. We're going to give tax breaks to companies that are investing to create jobs right here. I'm not going to give tax breaks to the wealthiest among us. I want to give tax breaks to middle-class families that are struggling to get by right now. We're going to have trade policies that are fair and make sure that if other countries are sending goods into our countries, that we've got safety standards so our children aren't chewing on toys with lead paint on them.
There you go.
We're going to make sure that we have a Department of Labor that believes in labor and that people can get organized and actually bargain for higher wages and higher benefits. We're not going to raise the minimum wage every 10 years. We're going to raise it to keep pace with inflation. We are going to invest in research and basic science because that's always what's led the American economy. We're going to rebuild our roads and our bridges. And if people tell you we can't do this, you just remind them we are spending $10 billion a month in Iraq. We can spend $10 billion right here in Oregon, right here in the United States.